Hey, everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark today, trying a couple new things this
Mhm.
month. We're doing the episodes with an introduction rather than we always had the introduction, but we're doing mainly an introduction.
Just an intro and then
And
letting you
no,
rock with the stories, yeah.
yeah, and then kind of leaving you with some final thoughts to think about after the
Mhm.
story. But we're also trying some different lighting, some different, positions and
Right.
everything. But with today being May 2nd,
Mhm.
it is all about the waters. So, you're a water baby. Like, kind of explain what that means.
Oh, man, just the love of it totally makes my energy happy when I get around the water. So, I make this reference to people, and I discovered it years ago, and when it hit me, I was like so I was always like, "Let's go fishing, let's go out on the lake," right? And I always enjoyed fishing, but then I was like, "Wait, do I actually like fishing?" Because it's like I do, but not as much as I like to be on the water. So, like, I would find that I'd be like, "No, let's just troll around." So I didn't have to do anything. And then it got to a point where I just put my pole down and I just chill. Like, God, I love being out on the water. It just makes me happy. And that's why I really envision us living in a place where when I wake up in the morning, it's the water. I truly believe, besides people, but water is truly life.
Right.
If without water, we don't have it in this form. It's a huge thing to me, and I feel it and I'm within it 100%.
I love that. Yeah. And I told you early on when we met, one of my favorite things to do is kayak.
Mm,
I used to, same thing, go out to go fishing, but then I'd bring my fishing stuff and my dogs would be with me in there, like in the little
yeah,
kayak.
in
I
your
got them
kayak.
both to fit, and then
Yeah,
a
good luck.
book. And then a book with me, but then I realized, like, I stopped bringing the fishing stuff, a lot of the time,
Yeah,
and then I just kind of liked being out there. I like
it's
my dogs in there, it's a
now, I
disaster,
mean,
but
they're a little big. Good luck.
I know. Bodhi used to just sit in the thing with me
Yeah,
and just, like, kinda sleep
he
after
was
the
like
first
chill.
time when he freaked out and he fell in, and
Dude,
then he
Boomer was a jumper. I would take him out on the boat all the time with me, the one that's out at my parents', and that fool would just jump. I would just hear a kerplash because I'd be fishing with the girls or something, doing something. I just hear a splash, and I'd hear, "Oh my god, Boomer's swimming!" And he's just having a good old time. And like back in the day, it didn't matter because he could just swim forever, and then he would jump back in. But the first couple
he
times
really
when I
did what he
couldn't get him
wanted.
in, I was like, "Bro, come on, give me a hand." And he's like, "This water's cold," because it was up at Cave Lake. And then shortly thereafter, the same day, he jumped in again. And I was like, all right, it wasn't like, because I was like, oh, maybe he fell in because he looked startled. I think because he realized he couldn't touch the ground or it was cold or whatever it was. But within 5 minutes, he jumped in purposefully. So I know I was like, all right, the first one wasn't an accident, bro. I got you. He loved he loved the water too. So it wasn't
That's
just
cute.
me. Yeah.
My dogs always like to run through the water at my parents'.
Mm.
Swimming kinda scares Bodhi. If he had a life
Can't
vest, I
touch.
think
Like it's
he'd
like
be
corgi
okay.
that we saw in the
Oh
video.
my gosh, with their
Oh my
booties,
gosh.
the booty cheeks are too buoyant, so they can't. It's so funny to watch. Anyway, with the water, though, the theme is that life comes from the sea. So life from the sea, not just that there's life within it, but we all came from the sea.
Like
So
within these stories, that's the
yes.
mm,
So the Big Bang or whatever, the primordial chaos, the big void, whatever, it was waters,
right.
right? So a lot of people are starting to think that space is the waters. It's just a
Mm,
different form of water out there.
mhm,
Which would mean that that's true. You came
right,
from the water. It's
right.
this vast expanse that never ends, just continues to fill. So, that's kind of what we're finding with space. But our lesson is that flow creates form. Okay.
Mhm.
So flow creates our form. So the question with this, and I was kind of excited because I'm going to give you the question and maybe you can think with it. If you want to answer, you can, but it'll be the question that we're thinking of throughout the stories as well.
Okay.
So rather than just giving it and then saying, okay, enjoy the stories, we're going to kind of think about it for a minute and think
Mhm.
of how we might answer it now.
I like that.
So the question though is what emotion creates me? So what
Mm,
emotion creates me? Notice that it's just saying singular. Okay, it's asking for a singular
mhm.
recognition. So, what would you do you want to answer? What do you think?
I think that's actually a big thing if you truly, like, start feeling where everything comes from. So, with QHHT, obviously, I gotta change the way my mindset goes with a lot of things. When somebody comes in and they're like, "I'm suffering from X." Well, you're suffering from X because of this emotion, and that's what you're dealing with. So, whatever emotion that I am dealing with now, personally, I would like to say it's love. Do I believe 100% it's there? No, but I believe it's really darn close. I really do. I really do. I'm trying to live from that emotion. So then when other things come in to that zone, I have a hard time with it. And that's when I probably seem like a butthead to you because I just I think there's better ways of going about things. I truly do, but I also think that people are free to do and should be free to do what they want. And I'm just there to be like, okay, just because you don't do it my way doesn't mean it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It truly doesn't. Because if I have information to give you, what you do with that information shouldn't matter to me,
We
like at
talked
all.
about that the other day.
Yeah.
What was it in regards to? I don't know if
So
it
as
was that.
Bashar actually
Oh,
is
that's
where
right.
I got it from. And I was like, that's genius. Why would I care what you do with the information that you get that I give you? You shouldn't. And I think that's why we have so much fighting because it's like, I'm giving you all this information. Why are you still acting this way? Because they're supposed to. That's their lesson that they're living.
Right,
That's
and
their
that's
life.
kind of something that I've struggled with quite a bit.
Hmm.
That's a lesson that I'm going through actively, and, like, my growth is getting so frustrated because I don't see why people
Hmm.
behave certain ways when they are seeing this, when there are these things that could be happening, should be in my mind, and then I have to go, it's I can't make people wanna do things, and nor should I have to,
It's made
right?
me feel better personally by just letting it go and just allowing people to essentially just do
Well,
whatever.
because
And
they're letting me do whatever,
yeah,
and I get upset when people do that to me. So it's kind of like, well, see it through my eyes. No, see it through mine. It's just that endless cycle. So I agree that kind of stepping back, and that's
it's
where.
so long as your energy isn't affecting mine in a way that I have to react.
Mm,
That's truly how I want to live. If I can live in my bubble and the people that are in my bubble and you don't affect my energy in a positive way, then there's no need for us to interact.
right.
And there might be things that just come into it that I have to adjust to. That's fine. That's life. But honestly, I can choose what I see. Like if it's everything that I truly believe with my heart of hearts, everything that's in that bubble I made there. Like it's there because I need it to be there or I made it show up one way or the other. It's there for a reason.
I like that. So you would say that the emotion that creates you is love. That's what you're
Mhm.
going with right now.
100%.
I think that's beautiful. And through, coming from the water, is that connection to everything,
Well, I
you
mean, the
know.
flower of life is, and then you dip that in. It's all within there, you know.
So I'm excited because I told you, like, I'm excited to go shower before bed and all this stuff.
Hmm.
But I think I was thinking about doing some self care and putting on a mask.
Mm,
But it was funny because we're actually going to feel water deliberately today
mm.
by, rinsing our faces, by
Okay, yeah,
washing
yeah.
and it could just be like light little soak splashing of cool water or even warm water if we want. It could be the cleansing of the actual face.
Actually, that's funny that you said that because I saw a video or I saw somebody doing it, and it actually triggered something in my mind. And I don't know what the whole thought was, but somebody was rinsing their face with it, and it was truly like, are we just doing that? Why? There was a start it was like we started putting water on our face for a reason. I really want to dig into that and why.
Ooh, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah, we're gonna notice, like, we're gonna feel the water deliver, really noticing what it feels like. And so, whether you do the water warm or cold, I would suggest ending with cold,
Right. A little more in
especially
a
before
natural
bed.
place. It would be I really do wanna I wanna have a cold plunge. Like, the benefits that I've seen from that and just I just wanna do it, you know? My body's I can feel it right now. I'm just getting chills from it because my energy has truly been like, "Let's go somewhere warm." I can feel it, but, like,
I would rather walk across coals. I would rather
then
do the
do a cold
fire
plunge?
element than
Yeah,
the
but
cold
man, is it
element.
so good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
just
isn't the
everything in
fire
your
thing
body.
too? Isn't that
Yeah,
just
I
a
think
different form of
it's good
shock?
for yeah, I think there's a place for everything that you can use
It's like
and
it's a
fire.
different kind
I
of
think there's
liberation almost, like, it's almost like courage and empowerment. Like that fire element, conquering something like
mhm,
that versus the water is almost like that shock, that cleanse, that healing, the clarity kind of reward
right.
to it.
And it's like that there is something for everybody. So like I have a technique to do something, right? But somebody else also has a technique. And you can look at martial arts and there's a whole bunch of different types of martial arts. There's so many different things and just because like I like to say just because I do something doesn't mean it's right. It just means that's the way I found that works for me. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that kind of falls into
So,
place.
with May being all about the creation and fertility, the life
Mhm.
giver, and we're in week one, which is all about creation awakens. I just really was excited. Like I said, this was a month that was my favorite to write. We
Yeah.
started with the beginning yesterday, and then we're going to jump into water. But the
Mhm.
next 3 days after this are the other three elements. So it leads up to 5 5 being the seed, the earth element. So it's pretty exciting. We get to touch the four elements
Yeah.
back to back to back to back. So you may honestly be in all of them if you'd
May I
like
may?
to,
Oh, I would love to.
because
Why not?
the first week it's just
Especially when you told me tomorrow's breath, right?
mhm,
Yeah, so why
breath,
not?
and then we get
I'm a
the
huge fan of
fire.
breath,
Yeah,
and I'm a fire guy.
it's just exciting to see the different ways of why.
Yeah.
Why were these always important? Why did we always know? Because we are attuned, like we have the answers within us. That QHHT thing, we have the answers within us, and it's not solely
1,000,000%.
to that, but
Right, but there's different like and what I was kinda getting on with that is, like, even with, like, religions, there's everybody has something that triggers something in them. There's a reason for everything. So, something will trigger you and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, now this makes sense, so this is what I'm going to do." Or, like, even within religions, like, I was guided for a certain amount of time because I needed that, right, in that amount of time, and it gave me what I needed at that time to be able to explore what I want to do now. You know, it
absolutely.
gave me a basis of things to look at like, hey, use this now that you have all this, ask why. And I truly think people should. And that's unfortunately, we tell our kids so often to just be quiet. And it's reversed. It truly is. Like, what I believed a long time ago is I thought the man was the more powerful spiritual one, but everything I look into, the woman is, the feminine is the
More
stronger,
attuned
more
naturally.
attuned to it. And I'm like, man, of course it is, right? And I wasn't looking at it as in the man is more powerful because I was being a sexist pig. No, it was just like that's just what I thought, and just I thought wrong,
Well,
and I
and
was like, oh, okay, cool,
I think you're not alone in the sense that it's kind of the generations speaking up against the, like, for example, like the education system, those kind of places. Because when they were silenced, the institutions that silenced them, so if it was a religion, whatever it may be, those people are now parents and are not okay with their kids coming home feeling like they did. And so a lot of that is that generational wave has hit where people are like, no, we're pretty over being silenced.
right?
Like everybody has slowly kind of been bothered more and more by it through the generations, but now
Hmm.
we're gonna say no
It's like,
because we
wait,
have
wait
the
a second.
opportunity to say no.
It's gotta make there's gotta be a reason though for everything.
Mhm.
Like your kid has to say, "Hey," and you're gonna be, "Oh, shoot, I remember." And then that's when it is. Otherwise, that's only your position. That's only your eyes that you see through it, and your kid might not even see anything close to what you saw, even in
Right.
the same exact place. So it's like, until they say something, you know?
But it's cool to think that regardless of the directions any of us go, we do come back to the source.
Mhm.
Like, that's what it's telling us inevitably. Like, we're gonna look at all 4 elements and how they're connected to the source, and it's them or nothing because they are all important.
Mhm.
They all are
Well,
dependent
yeah, I
upon
mean,
each
look
other
at when
when we
you're a baby, you're in the mother's womb.
mhm.
And
First
the
9
big thing
months
with
are in
this
water.
right, and the big thing with this and what I truly do like is with any creation story, if you're looking at it with the waters above and below and the conversations that you and I have had, when you separate that and go and there's just so much that you can dive into, like the gigantic trees that were possibly here at some point in time, and there's just so many different ways you can do it, but with when you ask the questions, really think about it when you're going on these stories. And I think it'll make the story one, it'll make it more fun. And then it'll also just maybe wake something up inside yourself. So who knows? It makes it more fun for me when I look at it that way.
That's true. And so we're going to think about all this stuff today, and we're going to move through the day with awareness of how our emotions shape our actions. So, like you were talking about the feminine being more naturally attuned to it.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's the water element that
Yeah.
feminine are more naturally attuned to. I would almost argue that males are more naturally attuned to the fire elements, the
Right.
leadership, the courage, the valor, the honor, that kind of side of things, where women are more attuned to the emotional
Hmm.
boundaries of healing and the self, So we'll look at that, but it's interesting, like the position you're taking, right? With your hypnosis and your healing, you're utilizing elements that and challenging the elements to come through a male, the masculine. So you're using your masculine and feminine together. It's just really cool. And we're going to look at that with all this stuff today and the rest of this week. But yeah, today's kind of all about where you came from, you're going to return to.
Hmm.
Like, no matter where you go, we're carrying part of the source, right?
Right.
And we'll always go back to it.
Yeah. Like when I was doing my induction or whatever you call it the other day, I was truly trying to zone in when I was putting my girls to sleep at night. Like, really, I was like, that's what I was trying to do. I felt it.
Right.
I felt that energy at one point, and I was like, yep, that's the one. Now, just staying there is the point. But yeah, I could feel it. That's what I do. So when you say that, it's like, no, it's 100% going back, whatever it is, like that parenting thing. And then you think of little things off that, and it all goes back to water one way or another. I remember Malia would cry and I'd put her in water and she'd shut up. And I'd pull her out of water and she'd start crying instantly. It was the craziest thing. I remember being in that bathroom right over here and just for hours and be like, you'd like being in a tub. So finally I'd get like my legs is tired. So I'd bring her in the living room in the little baby thing and just let her sit in the water. And just because she was a water baby, she
She just
loved
loves
the
the
water.
water. I love that.
She did. Like her and I are just like total water people. I get it.
Well, we're going to actually get to see water through a variety, today of
Mm,
different cultures. We always see it through 4 different cultures, but with water, you would almost think, why not sit in all the water cultures then,
mm,
right? There's some pretty major wayfaring cultures, islands, all those different places where water is a huge element. But we're hitting the cold and the hot today, like in
yeah,
some islands and then tips of or the tops of continents.
right.
So we're gonna see
Well,
it
because water
through.
is everywhere. You
Mhm.
got to think about it that
And
way.
it comes from everywhere, you
Yeah.
know? So we're gonna see it through Egyptian, Yoruba, Hawaiian, and Finnish folklore today. So enjoy these 4 stories, and we're gonna think about again at the end of what emotion creates me. So enjoy these stories, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Noon, the waters before all form. Before the rising of the sun and before the shaping of land, there existed only the boundless waters of noon, endless and unmoving, stretching beyond all direction without edge or shore. These were not the waters of river or sea, but the primeval flood, dark and silent, holding within it the unformed essence of all that would come to be. There was no sky above and no earth below, no light to break the surface, only the deep and infinite stillness of potential, a vastness that did not stir yet held within it the hidden motion of becoming. Within these waters lay all things in their earliest state, concealed and without distinction, neither living nor lifeless, waiting in a state of quiet suspension. Noon was not a god who shaped or commanded, but a presence that contained the first possibility of existence itself, the sacred depth from which all creation would rise. There was no time within noon, no measure of before or after, only an enduring fullness that held the seed of all form, all movement, and all life. From this immeasurable expanse, a subtle stirring began, not a breaking of stillness, but a deepening within it, as the first impulse of creation gathered beneath the unseen surface. This movement did not ripple the waters as wind stirs the sea, but grew inwardly like breath forming before it is released, carrying within it the inevitability of emergence. The waters held this motion without resistance, as though they themselves desired the unfolding that was to come, containing within their silent depths the first unfolding of the world. From within the waters of noon rose the first mound, the Ben, a sacred elevation that broke the surface of the endless flood, emerging as the first distinction within the undivided whole. It rose slowly, as though drawn upward by a force that had always existed within the waters, yet had never before taken form. Upon this mound stood Atun, the self-created one, who brought himself into being from the waters without father or mother, emerging fully formed from the depths of potential. He stood alone upon the first land, surrounded on all sides by the infinite waters from which he had risen, and within him rested the power to bring forth all creation. From his own being without union, he gave rise to Shu, the breath of air, and Tefnut, the essence of moisture, bringing the first balance of elements into existence. These deities moved outward from Atun, shaping the beginnings of the world, carrying with them the order that would structure all that followed. From them came Jeb, the earth, and Nut, the sky, whose forms would define the space in which life could unfold, their separation creating the realm in which existence could take shape. Yet even as these forms emerged, the waters of noon did not recede or vanish, but remained beneath and beyond all things, a constant and surrounding presence. They held the edges of the created world, unseen yet ever present, a boundary between what had taken form and what remained in potential. The rising of land from water was not a single act, but a continual process, echoing through all creation, as though the world itself continued to emerge, again and again, from the same primordial depths. As the world expanded and took on its shape, the sun rose for the first time, carried across the sky in its eternal journey, bringing light into what had once been without illumination. The light revealed the forms that had risen, the land stretching outward, the sky arching above, and the ordered movement of existence being and the ordered movement of existence beginning to take hold. The gods moved within this newly formed world, establishing balance and maintaining the harmony that had emerged from the waters. Yet beneath all things, noon remained, vast and silent, the origin that could never be separated from what had come forth. The Nile itself came to mirror this ancient truth, its yearly flooding reflecting the first waters of creation, rising and receding as a reminder of the world's beginnings. Each time the waters returned, they brought renewal, nourishing the land and sustaining life, just as the primordial waters had once held all life within them. Creation was not seen as a moment long past, but as a continual rising from the depths, a cycle that had repeated within the rhythms of the world. Noon was not distant, nor confined to the beginning, but remained present in the unseen layers of existence, in the darkness beneath the earth, in the depths of water, and in the spaces where form gives way to formlessness. The world stood upon the first mound, yet it was always surrounded by the waters from which it had risen, held within a greater whole that could never be fully known. Thus, all life carried within it the memory of the waters, the silent and enduring source from which all things emerge and to which all things remain connected. Story 2. Olokun, the depth that brought forth land. Before the shaping of land and before the naming of rivers, there existed only the vast and unbroken expanse of water, stretching without boundary beneath a sky not yet fully formed. These waters were not empty, but filled with hidden power, deep and immeasurable, holding within them the force of life not yet revealed. Within this boundless depth dwelt Olokun, sovereign of the ocean's hidden realms, keeper of mysteries that lay far beyond the reach of light. The waters of Olokun were not still, but moved with a quiet and immense presence, a force that did not need to rise to be known. Beneath the surface lay all things in waiting, the seeds of land, of creatures, and of breath, held in suspension within the deep. Above, in the realm of the sky, Olodumare, the supreme source, beheld the endless waters and desired that solid ground should emerge, that life might stand and take form upon something more enduring than the shifting depths. To bring this into being, the task was given to Obatala, the Orisha of creation, who was entrusted with the shaping of the first land from the waters below. Descending from the heavens by the chain of gold, Obatala carried with him the sacred elements needed to begin the work: a snail shell filled with earth, a white hen, and a palm nut, each holding a fragment of what was required for the forming of the world. When he reached the surface of the endless waters, he poured the earth from the shell, letting it fall upon the face of Olokun's domain. The earth spread upon the waters, forming a small mound that broke the endless surface. Then the white hen was released, and it began to scratch and scatter the soil, spreading it outward in all directions, widening the land little by little until it formed a broad expanse. The first land became Ile Ife, the place where the earth first opened, sacred and central within the unfolding of creation. From the palm nut grew the first tree, its roots sinking into the newly formed ground, its branches reaching upward, marking the connection between the realms above and below. Yet the waters of Olokun did not recede or disappear, but remained beneath and around the land, pressing at its edges, holding in it within the greater embrace of the ocean. In some tellings, Obatala faltered before completing his task, overcome by distraction, and it was Oduduwa who carried forward the work, ensuring that the land would be fully formed and stable. Whether by one or both, the shaping of land from water was achieved, though always in relationship with the depth from which it arose. As the land spread and took form, life began to follow, emerging from the balance between water and earth, between the depths of Olokun and the solidity of the ground above. Olokun remained sovereign of the vast waters, a presence both sustaining and powerful, capable of calm abundance or overwhelming force. The ocean was not seen as separate from the land, but as its origins and its constant companion, the place from which all had come and to which all remained connected. The wealth of the world, the fertility of the land, and the hidden treasures beneath the surface were all understood to belong to Olokun, whose domain extended beyond sight into the deepest reaches of existence. The boundary between land and water was not fixed but alive, shifting with the tides, reminding all beings that the world itself rested upon the waters from which it had been drawn. Even as people walked upon the land, they remained bound to the depths below, their lives sustained by the balance between what is seen and what remains hidden. Thus, the world was not created in separation from the waters, but in partnership with them, shaped through a sacred relationship between the depths and the surface. Oloku endured as the keeper of that depth, the silent and powerful presence beneath all things, holding within the ocean the memory of the time when there was no land, and the promise that all things arise from the same unseen source. Story 3, Namaka, the waters that shaped the islands. Before the islands rose from the depths and before the mountains stood against the sky, there existed only the vast and living ocean, stretching without boundary, moving in rhythms older than memory. These were not empty waters, but a realm filled with presence, with force, with a spirit that moved in every current and crest. Within this endless expanse dwelt Namaka, she of the breaking waves, whose power was known in the crashing surf and the deep pull of the tides. The ocean was her body and her domain, immeasurable and ever moving, holding within it the potential for both life and undoing. There was no land to divide her waters, no shore to halt her motion, only the ceaseless rise and fall beneath the sky. Yet beneath the surface, hidden in the unseen depths, the heat of the earth gathered, a force waiting to rise. This fire, not yet given form, moved beneath the ocean floor, pressing upward with a will that could not remain contained. The waters of Namaka felt this stirring, for nothing within her domain moved without her knowing. No, the ocean remained vast and dominant. The balance of forces had begun to shift. From the depths rose Pele, she of sacred fire, whose presence burned with a force that could not be quieted. She moved beneath the ocean, seeking a place where her flame could emerge, where the hidden fire could break through the waters and take form. When she rose, the ocean trembled, for the meeting of fire and water was not gentle, but a force of great consequence. Namaka surged against her, the waves rising in resistance, seeking to quell the fire that threatened to transform the boundless sea. Their meeting was not a single moment, but a continuing clash, a struggle that shaped the very face of the world. Where Pele's fire burned through the ocean floor, molten rock rose upward, glowing and alive, pushing against the waters until it broke the surface. Steam rose where fire met sea, and the waters hissed and recoiled, yet did not retreat. The Maka answered with waves and struck against the rising land, cooling and hardening it, shaping the molten rock into solid ground. Thus, the first islands were formed, not through stillness, but through the meeting of opposing forces, each shaping the other. Pele moved from place to place, seeking new ground, and Namaka followed, her waves ever pressing, ever reshaping what had been formed. In this way, the islands spread across the ocean, each one born from fire and shaped by water, each one carrying the mark of both. The island stood as the meeting place between these forces, rising from the sea yet never separate from it, their edges carved and reshaped by the endless motion of the waves. The ocean did not withdraw from the land, but remained in constant movement against it, wearing away stone, shaping cliffs, and returning what was broken back to the depths. Beneath the surface, the fire of Pele continued to burn, a hidden force that could rise again at any moment, bringing forth new land from beneath the waters. Namaka endured as the great presence of the sea, her power seen in the tides that rise and fall, in the storms that sweep across the ocean, and in the deep currents that move unseen below. The world was not shaped through separation, but through relationship, through the meeting of forces that could not exist alone. The land itself was not fixed, but living, changing with each wave and each movement of the earth beneath it. In the sound of the surf, in the rhythms of the tide, in the presence of Namaka remained, a reminder that all land rises from the sea and is shaped by it. The islands, though solid beneath the feet, were born of motion, held in balance between fire and water, between what rises and what returns. Thus the world came into being through the meeting of these forces, and within that balance, life found its place, sustained by the enduring presence of the ocean that surrounds and shapes all things. Story 4. Ilmatar, the Waters in the Cosmic Egg. In the beginning, before land rose and before the sky stretched above, there existed only the endless waters, vast and unbroken, extending beyond all measure. Above these waters lay the open air, wide and empty, without form or boundary. Within this expanse moved Ilmatar, the daughter of the air, a being of the unseen realms who drifted across the formless world. She moved alone through the emptiness borne upon the winds, until she descended into the waters below, drawn by their depth and their silent pull. The sea received her, and she remained within it, floating upon its surface, carried by currents that moved without direction. Time passed without measure as Ilmatar rested within the waters, and though she was of the air, she became bound to the sea, held within its vast and shifting embrace. The winds moved across the surface, stirring the waters, and in their movement, Ilmatar was shaped by the forces around her. The sea was not still, but alive with motion. And within that motion, something began to take form. As she remained upon the waters, Ilmatar conceived, not through union with another, but through the meeting of wind and wave, through the blending of elements that stirred within and around her. She carried this creation within her, yet the time of its birth did not come, and she drifted for ages, bearing the weight of something not yet brought into being. As Ilmatar remained upon the waters, a great bird came seeking a place to rest. This bird, a duck in many tellings, flew across the endless sea, searching for ground upon which to lay its egg, but found none, for the world had not yet formed. Seeing Ilmatar upon the water, it mistook her knee for solid land and settled there, building its nest upon her. Within this nest, the bird laid its eggs, and upon them it sat, warming them with its body. Ilmatar remained still beneath the weight, bearing the heat of the egg as they grew. Yet as time passed, the warmth became too great, and the heat of the nesting burned against her skin. Unable to endure the growing heat, she shifted, and as she moved, the eggs fell from her knee into the waters below. As they fell, they broke apart, and in their breaking, the world was formed. The lower half of the eggshell became the earth, spreading wide across the waters, while the upper half rose to become the sky, arching above. From the yolk of the egg came the sun, burning bright and steady, while from the white came the moon, casting its pale light into the night. The scattered fragments of the shell became the stars set across the sky, and the darker pieces formed the clouds that moved between heaven and earth. Thus, from the breaking of the eggs, the ordered world came into being, shaped from what had once been contained within a single form. After the world was formed, Ilmatar continued her work, shaping the land and guiding the waters into their places. She moved through the newly formed world, carving out the shorelines and deepening the seas, creating bays and inlets where the water would gather and flow. With her hands, she formed the contours of the land, raising ridges and hollowing valleys, ensuring that the world would hold both water and earth in balance. The rivers began to flow, cutting their paths through the land, and the winds moved across the surface, carrying breath into the world. Ilmatar's presence remained within the shaping of all things, for she had carried the creation within her and had borne witness to its unfolding. The sea, from which all had emerged, did not withdraw, but remained vast and enduring, surrounding the land and connecting all parts of the world. Even as the earth took form, it remained bound to the waters, held within their greater expanse. The skies stretched above, the sun and moon moved in their courses, and the stars held their places. Yet all of it traced back to the moment when the eggs broke upon the waters. Ilmatar endured as a quiet force behind this shaping, her presence carried in the winds and in the movement of the sea, a reminder that the world was born from water and held within its embrace. Thus, the beginning of all things was not a single act, but a series of unfoldings, where water, air, and life came together to form the world as it is known. The Daily Thread for May 2nd. Water holds what has not yet taken shape. Depth carries the memory of all beginnings. Land rises where patience meets motion. Fire and tide shape what endures. Breath moves through sea and sky alike. Creation flows before it becomes form. What is hidden gathers strength below. All life returns to the waters within.